blood, guts, trauma, and yet somehow it feels kind of flat. Season 3 of Invincible promised to punch harder, think deeper, and soar higher. But here we are scratching our heads, wondering, are the animators phoning it in? Are the writers spinning their wheels? And are we the only ones not screaming peak from the rooftops? Maybe we missed something. Maybe you did. Or maybe it's just mid. Let's find out in today's episode of Beyond the Medium. Episode 7, Invincible Season 3, The Glenn v. Negan Rematch. Alright, so as teased in the last episode, we are diving into Season 3 of Invincible today. Chandler, you wanna give us your thoughts on that?
We certainly took our time with this. It was quite the exercise to get through. Payton definitely, took his time breaking it down very detailedly. Took his sweet time watching it, and I decided to go ahead and rewatch it with him. And man, that was an experience rewatching it again.
Yeah. Oh,
Definitely.
you rewatched it for the podcast, huh?
Yep. Yep.
That must have been great. Yeah.
Oh man, I had such a blast rewatching my favorite animated show, 2025. Invincible
so
Season 3.
Before we get into it real fast, I just want to give my thoughts very briefly, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just my to be clear with everybody, just my brief thoughts on Season 3, right? So, I mean, Season 3, honestly, completely goated. I mean, you got goated animation, goated storytelling, goated characters. I mean, can we take a sec and talk about how fire of a little brother Oliver is, honestly? Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. I'm here
sorry.
thinking. I walked into that. I very much.
No, okay, I'm sorry. The truth is that personally, I think me and Chandler share the sentiment that this season of Invincible, not our favorite.
Yeah, but man, can we give a good time to appreciate the Mark and Eve moments? I really felt like
yeah, dude, Mark and Eve are totally couples goals.
Dude, couples goals. Mark Eve, Eve Mark, F Mark. I mean, think about your relationship, and you're like, oh wow, I have a really loving, functional, healthy relationship. And then there's Mark and Eve's, just completely shits all over your relationship. Guys, gotta step it up.
Honestly,
man.
All right. Enough joking around. Let's actually talk about the show.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. So evidently, right, this show has been getting some really positive reception. Some would say unwarranted positive reception.
Yeah, there's people out there watching the show, 3 inches from the television screen just for no fucking reason, shaking their head, warding out the fucking dialogue scenes like it's absolute cinema. And I'm just here thinking, I'm missing something. I wish I was enjoying it as much as everyone else was.
I agree. I don't know why either, though. Yeah, I don't know why people okay. Honestly, genuinely, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great either, though. But to say that, I saw those some clips. I don't know how true they were. I did not fact check this, but some people were saying that they were getting episode ratings that were on tier or on par with some of the later Breaking Bad episodes, like Ozymandias.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah. I saw something like that, and I was like, that is preposterous. That is factually incorrect. I'm sorry. It's not that good.
No. You said it's not bad and it's not great. I'm going to say it's not good.
Damn.
But it's very close to being you're really itching for me to say, it is so close for me saying this is bad.
Yeah.
The show has not done a service at all, because it made me go back to the comics and see wow, this is not that great. Invincible is not that good overall as a comic book series.
So that was crazy to me. I remember you told me that when you told me that you looked back at it after being disappointed with the show and came to the conclusion that Invincible was actually not that great to begin with.
Absolutely, because again, I think the for whatever reason, season 1 is the lowest rated season so far, and I think it's the best season.
That's
It absolutely
perplexing.
is.
That's insane to me.
And then you have all this other shit in here. Yes,
Especially
I said shit.
season 2 is definitely the worst.
Oh yeah,
Season so
this
far at least.
like season 2 and season 3 are right there, like a coin flip, and I'll be like, yeah, that's the worst one.
Yeah, but
You can
season
just get
3 at least has moments that people were excited for. Like what do you, I don't I'm trying to genuinely remember what happened in season 2 to be honest with you. I know Anissa showed up.
and this like literally the most important part was all the fucking Viltrumite shit.
Alan
And
got captured, right? Cuz that's why
Alan,
they're in the prison together.
and then Mark reunited with Nolan. That was
Right.
literally
Right on
all
the
the
Flaxid
important
planet.
parts.
Yeah, that did happen. Okay.
Yeah.
And everything in between that was filler. So, let's go ahead and start dissecting the season itself. Let's talk about season 3, right?
All right.
So, the season 3 timeline can be broken up into a couple different parts. So, you have the beginning part with Mark versus Cecil. You have some stuff with Oliver. You have the part where Mark goes to the future. You have the stuff with Mr. Liu, um, and like the crime syndicate. You have Nolan and Alan on the spaceship. You have the Invincible War, and then you have Conquest. So, starting from the top with Mark versus Cecil, right? The show gets off to a bit of a slow start, and then we get this conflict where basically all the Guardians plus Mark and Eve have to pull up on Doc Seismic because Doc Seismic leveled up. Doc Seismic now has giant, world-ending lava centipedes,
Yeah.
and is fucking up everybody, and it's just swagging on everybody. So everybody gets pinned down, including all the Guardians, and Mark and Eve, and then a bunch of Reanimen drop down, and start beating the shit out of all the bugs, and give them a chance to escape.
And
And
Darkwing,
Darkwing,
too.
and Darkwing,
Yeah.
yes. So that happens, and then Mark is like, "Hey, what the fuck? What's up with the Reanimen and also Darkwing?" So he pulls up on Cecil, and then they have their little conflict. Right now, you read the comic beforehand, right? Just for clarification, I have not read the comic.
Yes.
I have seen clips. Well, not clips. I've seen panels from the comic though.
Yeah.
For purposes of like researching for this episode.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Mark and Cecil's conflict, and do you think they handled it better in the show, or was this something that you even like remembered going into this?
I definitely I do remember their conflict. Like it does happen because of that, and I'm like, well, it makes sense for Mark to question it, but to go to the extreme, it's still dumb. It's like if they didn't, they would fucking die. Everyone would have fucking
Yes.
died.
Everyone would have died. Also, I forgot to mention Powerplex at the start. We'll talk about Powerplex later too.
You can't keep getting away with this.
I almost forgot about Powerplex.
I can't believe you forgot about Powerplex.
Hey, you did too, dude. You didn't mention him either.
I was fine with not mentioning Powerplex.
Yeah, but Mark and Cecil's conflict, right, is basically that Mark is naively moral, like moralistic to the point where he doesn't even like comprehend the reason as to why Cecil would be using DA Sinclair or Darkwing. But the fact of the matter is that what Chandler said is correct. If the Reanimen didn't pull up, all of y'all would have died. And then the whole planet would have been fucked, especially when the Viltrumites came. So, should everyone have just died instead, Mark? Like, there was no other valid... Like, if they were struggling, but it was like, oh, I could have got it kind of thing, right? But, like, they were all laid out and they were all captured.
Yeah,
so
the Reanimen
there was no chance.
The Reanimen picked up the shit. They're the heroes of the day, not Mark. But most people are like, oh, it's the contra moral, afflictions between Cecil and Mark. They're both on the same side, but two sides of the different coin.
It's
not
like,
that
shut complicated.
Up! It's like, shut up!
Damn.
The show pisses me off.
The conflict is not that complicated though,
No.
and I do feel like you have a point in that people are over analyzing it for the purpose of like talking about their favorite show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's just there wasn't enough weight on Mark's end to justify the conflict, in my opinion. I think Mark and Cecil, like, it felt super forced, and his position doesn't make any sense and isn't believable. Everybody would have died.
Yeah. Just
So
be like again, like, it doesn't add much to it. It's just like, okay, well, now Mark and Cecil are no longer on good terms,
I don't
which,
feel like what Cecil did was bad enough to create this rift between them that exists for like the whole season, though.
well, the rift was that he put an implant in his fucking head,
Oh
which
yeah,
I would be that is under I would be pissed. I'd be like, dude,
I don't know
you're
because I feel like if he talked to him about it beforehand, though, right? Do you feel like Mark would have understood, like, hey, we can't just have a Viltrumite going crazy again, you know? Like if you ever get reckless, especially knowing about the alternate marks at this point, right? And how they're evil on every other world.
yeah.
Like, come on, it's not unrealistic to assume that maybe you might go a little crazy at some point.
Yeah, they didn't have he just popped it out of nowhere and Mark's like again, like, he was like trying to get the fuck away from him. So
But
that,
Cecil kept trying to de-escalate the conflict, though. He kept trying to be like, "Hey, let's just talk,
like,
okay?" Like, and
Mark,
Mark
you're
was
being
fucking acting
stupid.
crazy and just like pulling up on him and yelling and shit. It's like, yeah, I'd be scared of shit too, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, he's a dumb fucking kid. So like, I get that he would be like, fuck this and fuck you, Cecil.
Yeah, I mean,
But
he's
again, like,
17. Yeah,
if he didn't listen, if he just listened to him, I think like that this is a conflict that could have easily been resolved with words.
his shit was pretty reasonable, dude. He didn't really do anything that bad. Yes, D.A.
No,
Sinclair was a horrible like psycho murderer, but if the Reanimant didn't pull up, you would have died.
and then Darkwing for whatever reason.
I guess he was there. He really didn't need to be there, did he?
It didn't be. Yeah, I was like, why is he there?
Maybe he portaled them out or whatever. I don't know.
I think he did. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Fuck
There's
Darkwing.
a
I
lot
don't
of
care.
it was a lot of shit there.
So you have that, right? And like I said, I don't have much to say about it because it doesn't feel very developed. And then it just kind of we just kind of move on from there, right? And
Uh,
that's a big critique I have of the season is that so much of the small arcs that we covered do not feel connected in any way.
no, this is literally just like kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon where shit happens and it doesn't,
I mean,
builds
it's
up to
all
the greater
it
stream
all
of
does
things.
connect though. It's just that it's like it's also like one after the other and everything kind of gets wrapped up in the episode and it's like it did happen and it is connected but you don't really feel
The gravity of
the
it.
consequences of one arc from one to the next, you know,
No, because they ultimately flutter out at the end of the season.
which makes you
It,
feel like what is this season even actually about? Because is it about the Invincible War? Because that only happens for one episode. It's not about Conquest because he just pulls up at the very end. It's not about Powerplex. It's not about Angstrom Levy. It's not about Mark versus Cecil. These are
it's
all
just shit
parts of the
happening.
season, but like there's no like central conflict really. Shit just keeps happening.
Yeah, and like all the promotional art is like the Reaniman like surrounding Mark while he's holding up Cecil about to punch a hole in his head. And it just happens one time and that's it. There's no greater conflict between the two for the overall arcing story of the season at all.
When I was watching clips of Invincible, like on YouTube and stuff, right? I thought that there was a lot more connective stuff between the clips that I was seeing, especially for the Invincible War part.
No.
But
Uh,
there's not. Like it's just the way it's like edited and the way that the pace moves, everything just happens so quickly. So moving on from that, we have Oliver, right? And what Oliver has been doing with this season. So they get the new suits from Art, right?
Kid Omni Man.
Yeah, he gets his Kid Omni-Man suit, and then he starts helping out Mark, and then he commits the grave sin of killing the Mauler
Mother
twins,
twins.
who were carrying the show.
That's what happens to bad guys. Fucking eviscerates his skull.
It's so weird though, because it's not like a punch. He like lifts his hand through his head, and just like pulls his head off.
Yeah, he fucking kills him.
It's very
He
slow and weird. So how do you
little
feel about
purple kid.
Oliver?
Oliver sucks.
Damn.
Oliver in the comics, he's a lot more obnoxious in the comics.
Yeah.
So much more. Like I hate like looking at him. Anytime I was a kid, I was like, man, fuck off. Get the fuck off the screen. Just
Yeah.
Oliver saying stupid shit. Big ass whooping coming in. I was like, ah,
Big ass
as
beatdown.
I remember physically reading the comic in my hand and rolling my head back. I was like, oh, please,
I don't
please die.
I don't
So
know if he
he's definitely a
sucks.
lot more toned down.
Yeah, in the show compared to the comic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one saving grace that this show has is Oliver's a lot more toned down
I
and
don't know
his
if he
obnoxiousness.
sucks, but he's like he has an issue that I feel like a lot of the characters in the show has, where when the camera is on them, I feel like my time is being wasted. 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't care about the developments of Oliver's life, especially that part where they're like watching him play around with kids at night,
it's
like they're in the skate park, and
yeah.
then he like pantses those dudes. It's like,
One issue I have with
why am I
Oliver,
being shown this? You know?
the biggest issue I have with Oliver is that he's so not like, what I mean by developed, I mean like he's super smart for a goddamn child. And I get that he's like, oh, half Thraxan, he fucking grows up quickly, but he's like talking intellectually to Mark about killing guys. I'm like, no 8-year-old would fucking think that.
Hmm.
Like, what? It's just so weird.
Well, he's like growing really fast or whatever, and he has photo photo perfect memory since he was a little baby or whatever.
Yeah, and it's just, it's really weird when you have this child telling like a young adult like what to do, and it's like, what, man?
And it's like,
It's just weird.
okay, so and then there's that little bit of character, right, with he doesn't understand why everybody doesn't like Omni-Man, because he didn't, when he was a baby and he saw him as a baby, he was just super chill dad.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like, it feels like a dumb like plot point to waste time on, though, because it's like, well, you didn't see it, but yeah, it happened, and yeah, it was really bad, and that's all there
So
is to
what?
say about it. And
And
he's
he's
like,
like,
so
so
what?
what? Do you think since he has like a photo perfect memory that he remembered Nolan clapping up his mom in the other room?
Damn, in the next room, yeah.
I'm omning it. I'm omning it. So
Aw,
good. All right,
no.
but yeah, overall the Oliver shit was not that interesting. It was more time waster shit. Just
He's he's not a horrible, like, he could be much worse as a kid character, especially, but I don't think he
oh
was a
yeah,
huge
dude, and
hindrance
he
to the
is in the
show.
comics, so
Yeah,
not as bad. Better improvement. No,
I don't think he was a huge hindrance to the show personally, but I didn't really
no
care about his time on
S-
screen, if that makes any
story.
sense.
And then we have the best episode of the entire season, the Mark and Eve date.
Oh yeah.
So, with all the fucking montage of Joji singing in the back as they fly around doing stupid couple shit.
Okay, so that's another thing that I'll get into it a little bit more later after we cover like the story sections, but yeah,
Mm,
this is another time waster, right? Like, okay, I'm not against having like romance or whatever in your story and all that, right? You can make that intriguing. If you can like build up some kind of conflict or some kind of drama or something, right? Something that is not just two people talking, which is kind of what this is, right? So Mark and Eve's relationship basically boils down to this. Something fucked up happens to Mark, and then Mark talks to her and is like, damn, this superhero shit is hard, man. I don't know if I can do this, man. And she goes, no, I support you. You're all good. And he goes, oh my, oh, I love you. Oh,
Eve, you're so good.
Eve, you're so
And
awesome and perfect.
Eve
Yes.
is so perfect. You're so much better than Amber.
True,
Amber was a bitch.
true. But it's like, there's no like tension or drama or anything to keep you invested in this other than like, oh, they really love each other.
Oh
But
man,
that's
wait.
all you get. That's all that's like.
If you want real romance drama, wait till the fucking future past time bullshit arc. Ooh, that shit is bad. And I know that shit's going to stay in the show
Yeah, because
because they love
they're
filler.
not cutting
They
shit.
they
So
love filler. They love fucking filler.
so
But keep it.
during their date, right? Before we get the epic scene of them flying through the clouds while Joji plays in the background. The, these two dudes, these two twins, whose names I can't remember. I think one of them
They're
is named Battle Master or something like that.
just
It's
call them
like
the future
it's
twins.
like Dropkick and Battle Master, something
It it
stupid.
it, it is. Yeah. Oh,
So
dude.
hold on. They take him to an alternate future where the immortal was left in charge of the planet and everything went to shit because the immortal sucks. And then
Let's just
and
yeah.
then the immortal finds Mark. Like they let themselves get captured so they can find him because they want Mark to kill him. And the immortal is like, Mark, please kill me. Please kill me. You left me here so long ago because it's like an alternate timeline kind of thing based on the actual future from the comics. Um, so he left the immortal in charge, and then the immortal fucked up, and he's like, "Please kill me." And Invincible's like, "No, I don't want to kill you, because killing is bad. Because he has a thing about killing for some reason, even though he turned Angstrom Levy's head into fucking hamburger meat."
Agreed.
Um, so they have their fight, and Mark ends up killing him, and then they go thanks, and then Mark walks out of the portal, and then nothing of value happened again.
Yep.
Nothing of value happened again because this alternate timeline stuff where he just stomps out the immortal is like, this has no consequence. There are no stakes to this. He literally walked into the portal and walked out, and we were in the same place we were at before they showed up.
Peyton, you forgot about the actual purpose. Mark is upset, and Eve comforts comforts him
Oh,
afterwards.
oh, of course, yes, of course.
You forgot one other thing.
I'm
Multipole.
forgetting a lot of things, honestly.
You forgot multipole.
Yeah, because I did not forget him. I was gonna talk about him once we got to the Mr. Liu shit.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
he relates to the future.
in the first episode, right, you have Multipole showing up as the fucking two twins are stealing the Declaration of
You killed
Independence.
my sister.
Yes, because he thinks Rex killed his sister, even though that's not what happened.
And then Kate pops out of nowhere. She's like, "Stop, Paul! You're being kind of a dick."
Where she flies down with the immortal from the
The go,
sky.
the most goated hero of
Yeah,
Invincible.
of course, with the 0-9 like fight record.
0 and 9.
It's something like that.
It's pretty high, man.
Man, I didn't want to give any time to the immortal because he really doesn't matter. But man, what a shit character!
There
What a
was a couple
shit
things.
character! What a loser! And then he's like, oh, I quit. I need to start a family with this
No, no,
minor.
no, no. Let's wait till the conquest to shit on right after Invincible War to shit on the Immortal again.
I hate the immortal.
Immortal does suck.
So yeah, he goes to the future, right? And then all that shit happens, and he gets upset about it. And then Eve comforts him, and then that's pretty much it.
Yep, that was the episode.
Nothing of substance was accomplished, and we move on once again.
And then Mark and Eve, they start their own company, the Invincible Corporation, where he's essentially a bodyguard
For a prison. For one
for a
prison.
prison. For a prison. He's a hero for hire.
Because they got attacked multiple times. Okay, so do we want to go into Nolan and Alan now? Because I'm pretty sure this is the point where it splits off, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Because I think the Nolan and Alan stuff actually happens in the middle of that episode with their date, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
So yeah, Nolan and Alan are stuck on the Viltrumite ship, and Nolan is trying to get him to leave with him, but Nolan doesn't want him to for some reason.
I'm a traitor.
Yeah,
You don't understand.
I'm a traitor to my own race, and it will just be better if my own race kills me, and then they kill my whole family, even though I miss my family and I care about them. So more motivations that don't make any sense. They take him to his execution, and then Alan decides to break everyone out, and also Battle Beast is there. So Battle Beast
That,
and Alan start cleaning up, punching through
and I'll
prisoners and Viltrumites and shit.
and I will say Battle Beast is cool, and I really appreciate. This is not me being sarcastic. I really like Battle Beast. That was cool as fuck. That Battle Beast got to join into the fray. It was very swag, very nice.
But then
Love
they
the
just leave
voice
him
actor,
floating in space after.
which is Battle Beast. So I respect it. I was like, you know what? He did his job. He made that part of the episode enjoyable for me. I will
Yes,
take it.
he did do that.
Everything else was shit.
So yeah, they bust out the ship, right? They have a pretty cool action sequence where Nolan and Alan punch a dude's head. They both fist each
Together.
other through a dude's head. They break out the ship, and then they steal another ship, and then they're planning to fly back to Earth, right?
Yeah, something. I think they're flying back to the capital or some
Or
shit.
yeah, their coalition of planets or
The
whatever.
coalition,
One or
and
the
they're
other.
never to be seen again in the entire season. That was it.
Yeah, and that was like honestly the most intriguing part.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? All the Viltrumite shit is the most intriguing part of the series. and
entirely.
it's like 1/3 of the entire season every fucking time.
I get that you have to have stuff happening in between the Viltrumite stuff, but all of it just feels so superfluous. It feels like nonsense, right? The stuff with the crime syndicate and like the Lizard League and like the last season, it's like it's all just okay. I know we're talking about season 3, but great example from the last season, right? So the
Mhm.
Lizard League claps up 3 of the Guardians, and then all 3 of them turned out to be alive afterwards.
No one
So
dies.
even
Superheroes
in
don't
this
die.
even in this situation in which some crazy stakes are happening, they keep pulling the rug out from under you because they keep reviving people, and it's so stupid, dude. What was the point
That happening.
of any of that happening, right?
Uh, uh, Rex becomes an actual good. He's not a dickhead anymore.
Because he
He
gets
has a
shot in the back of
realization.
the head
Yeah, and he somehow fucking lives with a bullet in his fucking brain.
just so that he can die later.
Die again. Die in the next season.
He got abdoled. Um.
I would say
Okay.
worse.
Uh. The Mr.
No,
Liu shit.
yeah.
Okay, so
Honestly,
we transition back to I forget the guy's I forget so much of the show, dude. I forget the
Tech
guy's
Head,
name.
the
Or
Stone guy.
not
We'll call him.
yeah, the stone guy, not Machine
Yeah,
Head.
we'll call him by the actor's name, Charlo Ali, I believe
Okay.
is his name.
Well, the Marshall
Mr.
Ali
Ali.
character is like, "Hey, I don't want to break Multipole out of prison cuz it's too hard." And Mr. Liu is like, "You will find a way or I will turn into a dragon and destroy you." And he's like, "Nah, no you won't." And then he does. And then he does turn into a dragon and he starts attacking the prison, right? So with the Invincible Corporation shit that Chandler mentioned earlier, they call Mark to come stop him. And we have a little fight where him and Eve are pulling up on Mr. Liu.
Couple goals.
And then while in the background, uh the other gang affiliate guys, the guy who can teleport and then the stone guy, uh make a plan with Machine Head basically to cap Mr. Liu's body so that the dragon will disappear. So they teleport his bodyguard out, and then Machine Head caps him, and then Machine Head takes his place at the head of the syndicate, right? Only for it to be revealed that Mr. Liu is in fact alive again.
Yeah, that he didn't die.
That he did not die and will be coming back. Also,
Again,
the
people don't
syndicate,
die.
no one in the syndicate besides Machine Head actually says anything. They're just there. So that's interesting.
Dude, didn't you
Um,
realize that War Woman's girlfriend is a part of the syndicate?
yes, I
Isn't
did
that
see that.
cool?
I did see
Isn't
that.
isn't that fucking cool?
It would be cool if she said something or did something.
They didn't do shit. All they did was sit there, nod their head, and that was it.
And that was it. And then we got a little stinger where Misty Liu's probably going to come back in the next season.
Yes, because Cecil revived him.
Um, no, it wasn't Cecil that revived him. It was like his bodyguard, right? They like took him to like he had some like crazy fruit juice or something poured on his head, and then he just randomly came back to life. I don't.
Well, in
They
the
brought him back somehow.
yeah, in the comics, Cecil revived him because Cecil and
Oh,
him worked together. Yeah,
I don't know if I don't think it was Cecil in the show.
I don't think it was, but I'm pretty sure somehow they gave him the stupid mortal fruit.
The
Whatever.
immortal fruit.
Yeah.
So okay, so then we get to the 3 actual interesting parts of the season, right? Besides Alan and Nolan breaking out, right? You get the
Yeah.
Powerplex stuff, the Invincible War, and then Conquest.
Conquest.
So let's talk about. Let's go in order, right? Let's talk about Powerplex first.
Oh man.
The greatest character in the show.
Voiced by
Powerplex is an incredibly
Aaron
stupid
Paul.
character with nonsense motivations. He works at the GDA and has seen the footage and should know logically that Mark was not at fault for killing his family. He risked the life of his wife and newborn child for vengeance on someone he knows isn't responsible, and it would make more sense if he was mad at Omni-Man and wanted to fight Mark because of that. And he's voiced by Aaron Paul.
Oh. Again, big actor to voice a character with little screen time. Why? There's so many. That's a weird thing. There's so many. Like the King of Mars was voiced by an Academy Award-winning actor. Why?
One of the
Why just
girls from the Mummy episode where they dig up the mummy tomb or whatever is Ella
Ella
Purnell.
Purnell? Why? Why? Why are you
Grant
paying this?
Thaddeus is Peter Cullen.
Well, she's an actual voice actor, so that's fine.
That is true.
But everyone else is a goddamn actor, like an fucking A-list actor. Why? So to me, I really thought they're going to change Powerplex's character, not with motivation, still because it's still fucking dumb. I really thought they were going to go ahead with the route that it's his wife instigating it. Because in the comics, as a reading it, I was like, oh, his wife is kind of pushing him this way, but it's still his fucking choice.
Well, she kind of does, but they both are in on it basically. So
yeah, but then I really, because he's like, should I even be doing this? And she's like, you need to fucking kill him now. And it's like, can we get more of her being the actual villain and him being kind of manipulated? Because that would have been, a lot more interesting besides, you killed my family, bitch.
He's like,
yeah, it's just
that's
like,
pretty funny.
Again, it's just like, oh, he's mad at Mark indirectly. Mark indirectly fucked with him.
But why did they make him work at the GDA? If he was a civilian, it would be like fine. But the fact that he works at the GDA, he has to have seen the footage, right? He has to know that Omni-Man was literally holding his head up through a bus full of or a train full of people and blowing up roads and buildings and shit.
Yeah, again, like with the GDA, it's just like, it was right. He could look through the files and be like, oh shit, it was Omni-Man. Fuck. Yeah. But again, it's like, there was a liberty to change his character, and they decided to copy and paste it from the fucking comic and not do.
That's so dumb though, because it's like, okay, this is a good time to bring up this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Robert Kirkman is he's like a lead producer on the show, is he not?
Yes, he has a good amount of control of what's going on. He's got a good amount of involvement in the show.
And I think he has been on record saying that he makes these changes purposefully to try and look back and see and improve on things he could have done better.
Which he has done. Debbie's an actual character and not a fucking drunk mom off of, drinking wine. Debbie is the best change he's made to the show that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, her character is definitely much better than from what I saw in the comics, from what we talked about.
Oh, yeah. Debbie's an actual good character in the show.
Why'd you have to push him away?
Why do you have to push him? It's so dumb as fuck.
That's crazy. Honestly,
that's foul.
I don't know, because if that was in the show, that kind of would have been amazing. That's
for the right or wrong reason.
That's such a crazy, insane line to say
to your kid,
to your child. But no, in the actual show, she's more like supportive, right? So
yeah, she's a victim in this too. But going back to Powerplex, no liberties were really changed with him. Nothing. He's the exact same character with the exact same dumb motivation.
They make a lot of what feel like superfluous changes for the sake of like adapting the material, and we'll talk about it later with Conquest, where they did add on to the character and change it in a little bit at the very least, right? So why would you not change Powerplex's motivations or backstory at least a little bit to make it make more sense? Like, it doesn't even make sense as to how he thought this was going to work, because the final conflict, right, is they trick him into thinking that he has held a woman and a child hostage, being his actual own wife and child. And she's like tied up against like a pillar or whatever, right? And then in the middle of their fight, it's not even like a conflict thing where they like blew the building up from fighting, right? Mark is literally on his knees while he's electrifying his brain.
He overloads.
Yeah. And Powerplex puts so much power out that he just microwaves his own family, who's like 10 feet behind him. And it's like, you can't even blame Mark for this, because Mark was literally on his knees getting electrocuted by you. This is 100,000,000% your fault. You can't make a character like this and expect me to like act like it's well written when it's not. Okay, it's just preposterous. Nobody would ever think this way. I don't care how grieving you are and how angry you are. You would not risk the safety of your wife and child getting blown up by your superpowered fight.
You killed my family.
Especially when his motivations are because he lost family members.
So you lost family, due to an accident. You lost your family, your immediate family, due to your own stupidity. Let's think. Yeah, it's just like
It's all Invincible's fault. This is all your fault.
again, change the story, make it where his wife was the more of the instigator, where she really got in his fucking head. Maybe she beat the fuck out of him and he had the power. That it feels like an abusive dynamic, and she died. I think that would have been, a lot more substantial, where he's, so fucking brainwashed by her
Look,
that he thinks that
you
he
don't
thinks Mark
understand
did it.
Powerplex. I gotta beat you so that you can be strong enough to fight Invincible.
You don't understand fucking Aaron Paul. She's cracking the fucking belt over her hand.
Oh my
Gotta,
god,
you
it's
gotta, you gotta
horrible.
be strong enough.
You
She
gotta
points at
be
the kid.
strong enough.
She points at the kid in the corner. You see this? I do this because I love you.
Oh
And
my
beats the
god,
fuck out of him.
that's so weird.
Again,
Holy
like,
shit.
yeah, like that's something that would have been more interesting to see than, yeah, we should kill Invincible.
Yeah, gotta
Yeah,
take him out. It's all his fault.
it's all his fault. Yeah. So Mark is able to fucking overcome Powerplex by removing the MacGuffin off of his back, and he
And he
loses
kind
his,
of
like,
just tanks him. He just tanks his power. He's like, oh, okay, not that bad.
and then he gets arrested, and he's like, "I will be back for you, Invincible.
I will
One
find you.
day, maybe within a couple episodes, I'll be back for one or two speaking lines in the entire season again. I'll be back.
They paid
They're
me
going to get
millions of dollars.
they're going to get the money's worth off of this, Mark. Wait and see."
And then we get the greatest episode, the Invincible War. We have neglected to mention so far that there have been very, very small clips where Angstrom Levy has been spying on Mark through these little drones. We did not know that they were Angstrom Levy's until this episode, and he never does anything by spying on him.
He's just
I don't think he even uses any of that information for anything.
He's like, "Look at Mark. He's evil as fuck. He's so evil. He's hanging out with his mom and brother. He's evil as fuck.
Eating dinners.
Eating dinner. This motherfucker's plotting to kill a whole entire population of people in the city. Watch.
So
Watch
Angstrom Levy, in his genius, right, after being revived by the technicians, even though his face was like flat against the ground, and that doesn't make any sense. After being revived by the technicians, came up with the ingenious plan, right? Because he hates Invincible so much. So what does he do, right? He gathers like 13 other actually evil Invincibles that all killed him in their own timelines, right?
And more.
And his family and stuff. So people who would actually be at fault for the reason that he's mad. And decides to have them all invade the good Invincibles planet. Basically swag on them and destroy several cities. And then that's it. That was the plan. So that they
make them hate Invincible.
So that they hate him, right? Even though they all look completely different, and it would be very confusing as to how he's in all these places at once somehow.
It wouldn't be like, the whole hero society would be like, wait, our Invincible's right here, and there's like 13 other ones. Okay, evil
who all
clones.
look and sound different, by the way.
Evil guys. Got it. Completely get it.
The best part about this arc is just that Steven Yeun gets to fuck around as the different Invincibles for a little bit.
Hey man, fuck you!
Yeah,
And we get
like
the
that
best delivery line. Wouldn't you keep you as a slave in my own empire?
I wouldn't keep you as a slave in my empire.
The best line. Like, literally, I was like, okay. I remember seeing that little teaser, and I was like, okay, maybe this will be good. Just because that one fucked
Little
up
did
funny
you know
line.
that teaser was literally all you were gonna get.
Oh, you're going. The Invincible War is literally just snippets of fights that don't end. You only see
fights that have no resolution.
Yeah, you only see like one of them. You only see like two of them. You see where Mark and Eve pull up on the on Omni Mark and Mask Mark, and then you see the confrontation between Teen Team versus Goggleless Mark.
Yes,
I think that's the name of that one.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I
hate how I know the fucking alternate Mark names.
And the only one that really matters is the one with the fight with Teen Team, right? Where Bulletproof takes Robot and fucking Monster Girl away, and Rex is left to fight the alternate Mark by himself, and then he blows up his whole skeleton, And then
My
Shrinking Ray
home.
is like,
Man, that was so fucked up, B. And
I love.
then
I really love how Robert Kirkman made the genius decision, right, to completely change Rex's character to try and make him like cool, try and make him like a good guy, and then they also changed Shrieking Ray into a woman, right, so that they could develop this romance, just so that they could kill fucking Rex like just like they did in the comic.
yeah, my
What was the
whole
point
entire
of making these
skeleton
changes
ticket.
and trying to develop his character more if you were just going to kill him again anyway? Shrinking Ray died in the comic
You
against
killed
the
him
Lizard League.
again.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Shrinking Ray died in the comic against the Lizard League, right? But they changed that. So like, what was the point? I feel like you could have adapted it into a way because people clearly liked Rex too, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get to it later, but he did not get his due respect at his funeral. So
Oh, dude. Oh, fuck no. No. Robert Kirkman's like, we need to have people feel for Rex. Really, they need him to have hope because he and Ray are so cute together. They're so goals. Got this, Italian Jersey chick with glasses. Oh, people like that. People love girls with accents and glasses. Robert Kirkman's like, oh yeah, I know what I'm cooking.
this is brilliant.
Perfect.
This is
This
a
is good.
masterpiece.
This is fucking excellent.
This is 9.9 on IMDb. This is what this is. So
And
yeah,
then
they change everything about Ray's character, right, to do this relationship thing that ultimately goes nowhere because he still dies. Um, and then the craziest thing to me, right, and I told you about this when we had a conversation after I watched it, right? The
mhm.
resolution of the Invincible War, no shit, is that a bunch of the alternate marks get fucked up, right? The remaining ones all meet up at this Mark's house because Angstrom Levy told them to. They're like, all right, let's all meet up over here for phase 2 of the plan. And phase 2 of the plan was, I don't know, really.
Yeah. I hate how fucking Angstrom is like, meet me at you know where, and it's like, what?
Oh, it's his house. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, you could just say, meet me at your home, which would be. I think that line was
Or
dumb. He's
meet
like,
me at home. That'd
meet
be
me at
cool.
home. Yeah, but he's like, meet me at you know where, and it's like, what? Like if I was Mark, I'd be like, what
But
the
it's
fuck
also
does he
not a
mean by that?
place of like actual importance because nobody is there.
Yeah,
Like they even crack a joke about how Debbie's just not there. So all the Invincibles show up, right, and they're like, "Hey, Angstrom Levy, we're tired of taking orders from you." And he's like, "Damn, I thought they would have turned on me sooner, honestly." And then he opens a bunch of portals and uses those drones that we were talking about to shove them all into that same dimension that Mark was in back when he thought he had killed him, that big giant desert full of nothing. Um, and
and
then
that's
that
a
is just where they are left, and that is it.
yep.
That's the resolution to the Invincible War. A bunch of cool fights that all happened off screen that we didn't really get to see, with no resolutions, no clear winners really, and no real development other than Rex dying.
Yeah, but dude, okay. One thing they did miss out on was fucking Spawn being there.
Well, the
I
crossovers in general. I mean, the
yeah,
Spider-Man
Tech Jacket,
crossover, the Batman crossover.
Tech characters they have fucking ownership of. Tech Jacket, fucking god damn it, man, swagless fucking design.
Yeah, absolutely swagless. Well, I want to get into that later because I do want to talk about the
Mhm.
animation. The
Yeah,
controversy around the animation, which was more prevalent in season 2, but I
yeah.
feel like it's still kind of ass here, especially
Oh yeah.
in particular episodes, right? Um, and that's also a conversation about the art style. But yeah,
Yes.
the Invincible War is just not satisfying. It felt like superfluous world building and just has a really unsatisfying conclusion that doesn't naturally transition into the conquest fight. Because conquest just appears, right? So
Well,
they give you this timeline, right, where they're like, okay, the Invincible War happened, Angstrom Levy escaped again, um, and then we started rebuilding. And then as we started rebuilding, Conquest pulls up.
yeah. Which I mean, yes, that does happen in the comic. This is again like an issue with the story where Conquest just pops out of nowhere.
I mean, you could argue whether or not you like the fact that he just kind of pulls up. To me, it just feels a little random. We don't really know anything about this guy, and there was no lead up to him like there was in season 1 with the, you know, I guess because Nolan is much more of a personal villain in season 1 to Mark than Conquest is. But the only real foreshadowing that we got was Anissa saying someone worse is coming.
Yeah.
Um,
I was going to mention that. I was like, but Peyton, people are going to be like, well, you're dumb enough. You forgot it's season 2 on episode 5 where Anissa says someone worse is coming.
Look, I forgot a lot of things about this show,
Yeah.
okay?
I mean, truthfully, there was no build up. You didn't see him like in a fucking space pod or some shit like a fucking Saiyans arriving. There was no real build up to Conquest. He just pops up. He
Yeah,
literally just
you don't see the only time you ever saw him was during a montage in season 1 where they were talking about the Viltrumites.
yeah.
He just appears, right? And it's like
Yeah.
I don't think that's particularly strong in the comics or the show. Another chance they could have adapted something and changed it a little bit to make it make more sense. I guess it's the idea, right, is that like Mark just never gets a break. Like all this horrible shit just kind of keeps happening to him over and over and over. The
Yeah.
Back to the Future shit, the Powerplex stuff, the stuff with Mr. Liu, and now the Invincible War and Conquest. Like it's all just back to back. But it feels random more than anything. You know? It's this just nonstop barrage of like different thoughts, like different concepts for arcs that don't ultimately get expanded upon. So Conquest, right? Voiced by another extremely expensive actor. Very well known for his face that you cannot see because this is a cartoon. So how do you feel about
JDM.
Conquest being voiced by JDM Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Hey, do you have that foghorn? Little sound bit.
Oh, that's how you feel about it, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead and play it. There we go. Yep, that's exactly my feelings.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, as a kid, reading the comics, you imagine you make up voices in your head
Right.
for characters.
Right.
And Conquest, my thing was with the Viltrumites, I was like, they're all fucking Irish. They're aliens, why not? They're all Irish. And then when you have them talk like regular ass people, and you have JDM voicing fucking Conquest with a southern fucking twang,
you kind of hear you just hear JDM's voice. You don't hear the character. You know what I mean?
And it's just like, I know why you guys did this. You guys fucking suck. I hate all of you. I hate everyone who made the decision to cast him. He's a great actor, but as a voice actor at this specific kind of role, he's not the fucking. He did not meet.
He was not the pick. He was not a great casting pick for this role, I think.
He is not. He plays the douchebaggy, sadistic, snobby characters. Conquest isn't snobby. He is completely batshit crazy.
It's more so that he plays charming characters.
Yes.
Right? Conquest is not a guy who is supposed to be charming, bro.
He is far from it. He's lost his fucking rockers. This guy's insane. He is a murder-loving sociopath.
Insane, jacked out old man aliens who has slaughtered multiple planets worth of people with a giant metal arm.
Yeah, countless amount of people. Unfathomable carnage. Nothing that we could actually fathom with the amount of people that he's killed. Thus, his name is Conquest, because that's what he does. He goes there and he conquers it, regardless of how much it takes. I'm not like he was too relaxed. He was too calm of a character.
He was chill and kind of cocky in a way that I don't feel like fit the original vision for the character, right?
Yeah, Conquest is definitely cocky.
But this is because they also kind of changed it a little bit. It's not cocky in the same way, though. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's more charming, where he's like,
it's not
he's being
boisterous.
Like playful instead of boisterous.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a subtle distinction, but I think it makes for a different kind of character.
Absolutely, yeah. That subtle change vastly changes the character overall, and that is not the Conquest I knew and grew up to.
I mean, assuming that they would have Irish accents is one thing. I mean, that can be your headcanon, but just realistically, right? I think, for whatever, like, let's be real. Let's boil it down, right? Because the truth is that this show has a weird priority assigned to hiring well-known celebrities, not voice actors, to voice characters in the show, accompanied by a ton of licensed music as well.
Yes.
both of which must have been crazy expensive.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Most of their budget is not going to the animation. The math isn't adding up right. The math isn't mathing. Their budgeting is going to promotional use, to voice actors, or not to voice actors, the casting, and to the licensing of music. It's absurd. An animated show, its first fucking thing priority should be to the fucking animation.
Yes. And credit where credit is due, they do use a lot of voice actors as well. Mostly more for
Mm-hmm.
the side characters though, like the
And
minor
those,
characters. Like a lot of the characters in the Lizard League are voiced by the GOAT, the actual GOAT, Fred Tatashiore. Love him in everything that he's in. Very iconic voice, plays a lot of different roles. Extremely talented guy. But I'm not
what's
saying that any of these actors that they chose are, it's to taste whether you think they're good in the role or not, but they're all talented people still, They wouldn't
yeah,
have the job otherwise. But I feel like the reason that they were casted is more so based on their status as a well-known celebrity than it is for if they fit the character.
yeah, it's absolutely because of the star power. And it's just like you have Dan Clancy in there, or Clancy Brown. He could have been a perfect conquest. He would have been way better than fucking JDM. And I just don't understand like the weird. I get why, but in terms of budgeting, they could have been more effective about it.
I wholeheartedly believe, because I read a article that said that. So, did you know that most of the members of the original Guardians of the Globe from the first episode of Invincible are all voiced by different Walking Dead cast members? All of them, every single one.
Of course, I didn't even notice that, but a fucking
Uh,
course it is.
Red Rush, War Woman. I think War Woman is Maggie. Green Ghost. All of them. Every single one of them is voiced by a Walking Dead actor,
And for what? Like they just appear one time and that's fucking it, and they
and then
fucking
they
die.
get clapped up. So
But
that's the thing though, is there is an intention to use specific people for this, right? Because I think the article I read, and take this with a grain of salt, I'm not sure if this is true, but it said something to the effect of Robert Kirkman knows the people that he likes working with, right? And he worked with the actors on the Walking Dead show, right?
yeah,
So I think the intention was made to have JDM play Conquest specifically so that people could point at the screen with soy jack faces and go, "It's Glenn and Negan."
dude. Okay, so that is literally the reasoning. It was suggested to hire JDM because he works on The Boys. He played a character on The Boys,
He did.
and it would just be easy because of Amazon's thing. And Robert Kirkman literally said, "I couldn't go pat. I could ignore the meta of it. I think the fans would really love it."
That that is a artistically soulless decision.
It is. It fucking is, and that's why like I'm going to say it out here. Robert Kirkman's fucking washed up.
Damn.
Fuck off, dude. Fuck off. Again, like there's so many other actors that could have given the actual life of Conquest.
Given life to this character in a way that was more believable, right? But it's
Yeah,
like, look, I don't know if this is true. I don't want anybody to harass Robert Kirkman for one thing, right?
I mean,
I don't want anybody. No, I don't want anybody to get
no, no, please
harassed.
don't, please don't.
None of that.
My,
Okay.
please don't go out and say the guy.
Look,
Don't, no death threats,
I
nothing like
just want to
that.
say, yeah, we're getting a little heated here, but we're just sharing our opinions. If you disagree, please feel free to voice that as well.
Go
But
ahead and comment below if you
but
disagree.
yeah, look, a lot of changes have been made to the show that I don't feel like were for the better, and I feel like some of these decisions, just personally, right, such as the decision to hire JDM for the purpose of like people going,
Glenn,
oh, it's Glenn and Negan, it's
Glenn,
Glenn.
bro.
That's not the priority you need to have on this
and
show.
and that's the thing. That's what people fucking did all over Twitter, all over Reddit. It's like, oh my god, Glenn versus Negan, the Negan rematch. Holy
I'm sure it
shit,
got a
dude.
lot of people watching it, at least watching clips and stuff on YouTube at the very
Oh yeah,
least.
oh yeah,
But like,
absolutely.
I don't feel like he fits the character, and I feel like more intention should have been placed on picking a voice actor with range for the type of character Conquest is, as opposed to just let's just pick JDM because, well, it's Amazon, we can get him. And Glenn versus Negan, bro.
And that's exactly what fucking happened. So let's go ahead. We're getting off a little off tangent. Let's go ahead and talk about the episode of the Conquest versus Mark.
Okay. Um. So okay. So the reason everybody likes this fight, right, is because it's super brutal. And it's really cool. A lot of cool shit happens. Now the show kind of fucks this up a little bit. Story stuff aside, right? I think the fight is animated fine. It
Hmm.
is it is fine. It has some moments that look pretty good for a few seconds. It is overall quality though, it is fine. I don't think it's fair to compare it to like crazy anime shit like One Piece or JJK animation, right? They don't have that
Change.
kind of time or budget or talent probably.
Yeah, let's be real.
I do think there are some complaints that can be made with the animation, mostly in terms of design though. So we'll get back into that later. I'll save
Yeah,
that for the very end, about
I
the
have
art
a lot to
style
say about
choice of
that.
the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the fight is pretty cool. The progression of the fight is a little weird. Um, Conquest is basically trying to goad him into going all out, which I really don't understand why Mark is not going all out from the jump,
Oh
especially
yeah.
with what just happened
Oh yeah.
like a
Especially
day
when
ago.
Conquest fucking runs him through a crowd of slide PNG people.
Yeah,
Why didn't he fucking lock in? That was before that. That was a perfect moment to lock the fuck in.
because he does lock in later when he's like missing an arm and a leg,
And
basically.
his girlfriend is. He thinks his girlfriend's fucking dead
But why did you wait to that point to start really throwing elbows?
because
Why were you holding
couple
back? Like the dude's
because
like
his
8 feet tall, and you hear Cecil on the line. Like he doesn't hear him right, but Cecil is like, dude, this motherfucker could probably take on Nolan. Honestly,
yeah, and he's literally he ran him through a fucking fleet of fucking army ships or
yeah.
navy ships.
And he's getting punched through buildings and flying into oil trucks and exploding and shit.
Yeah,
There's some notable moments of animation, like the part where his hair is like all in the wind and stuff.
that definitely did something
There's
to a
there's
lot
the
of
part
people.
where Conquest punches him and levels the whole city with one punch. Looks pretty cool, honestly.
The the
Um,
the, the saddest part of that is the best scene was when they're in space and Conquest makes the horrific sadistic face after he pops the fucking heart little blood
which was
bubble,
not in the comic, from what I
which is
remember.
not in the comic. No, it's not. That was not.
It's a
That was
cute little
definitely not.
character moment they added.
I was like, okay, is the animation going to pick up? And then didn't. And I was like, all right, well,
Well, you
fuck me
got
then.
that one little frame of his face getting all crazy.
And I was like, okay, there we go. And then just like, wow,
I wish he looked like that all the time.
I
But
wish he was the. Damn it. But yeah, Mark, loses control. Eve gets fucking speared through,
she
and
got she
Mark.
got for reference, just for anybody who did not catch it. She got injured heavily during the Invincible War. She got like her leg fucking ripped off or some shit. So she's like she was been in the GDA hospital the whole time recovering. Then she sees Mark getting clapped up on the TV, and she flies in to come help him.
And she gets clapped up. She gets speared, and then Mark actually locks in.
She has a very small fight against Conquest before he fucking hits her with the drill hand and blows her up. And then Mark gets actually mad, and then they actually start throwing hands. But Conquest is still just slapping him up. And then you get the part where Adam Eve reconstructs her body and hits him with like a fucking crazy giant laser that takes all his skin off. Um,
She hit him with that fucking black Kamehameha.
yeah, the the black Kamehameha, the Kid Buu pink one. His skin gets flayed off, but he's still going hard. And then we get the crazy headbutt montage.
And then his head is essentially hamburger meat with little bits of uncooked fucking
It looks like a meat
awesome.
canyon drawing, dude.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
pretty
meat
much.
canyon drawing of like a smashed in like
Oh, oh
butthole.
yeah. Before that, the thing they added to his character, the one liberty they
Oh
the
yes,
one thing.
yes. I'm glad you remembered. I was about to roll over that too. Um, okay. So there's a little part where Conquest is choking out Mark for a little bit, right? And he leans down to him and he starts whispering some lines that were not in the comic.
I'm so lonely. No one wants to be my friend. I wish I could cry, but no one in the universe would care. I have no real name. Conquest, they call me. I am a victim of my own success. Take that to the grave.
Take it to your
And then
grave.
it chokes about.
Take it to your grave is a pretty fire line, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you feel about that change to Conquest's character? Because in the
Did
comic,
not
right,
like it.
in the comic, right, he's just a psycho motherfucker. That's it.
Again, there's really no fucking point to that. It is a unnecessary add-on. What does this do for Conquest as a character?
Why would
Overall,
Conquest whisper this to this man?
because he's so lonely. He's just so.
But
he's
just
gonna kill
met
him.
this man, and he's about to choke him out. So what is the point of telling him this?
He wanted to get off of his chest. He was having a therapeutic moment.
I don't think Conquest is the kind of guy who would stop to whisper to his enemy. I think he would just tear him in half.
Maybe he'd be like, "Thank you. This was truly a great fight." Or I don't know. Again, it's something that doesn't make sense because
I feel like
when
he
you're
would say
presenting-
that after the job was done, though.
Yeah. Again, the character that is presented is just he loves to fight and he loves to kill people. He loves to lick the blood off of his enemies off of his hand.
Which he does
And
do. He still licks the blood off his hand. And it's
but
like,
not as cool.
Are you like trying to play a character? Like, is this some like Majima type shit going on? It felt needlessly like they tried to add a little bit of depth to him, and we know he comes back later, right?
Yeah.
So they'll probably do more with him later, I would imagine too. Before the rematch.
Before the rematch, which they're not. He has like 2 other seeds. He comes back to Viltrum to meet Thrag, and then he goes out to get Mark, and then they fight again, and that's it. But it's just so like off-putting. You're like, I was getting a whole different vibe, and now you're switching it up on me. The switch up was insane.
I am so lonely.
I'm so lonely, Mark.
I don't even get a real name.
Conquest, they call me. None of the other Viltrumites want to be my friend. They think I'm unstable.
I am unstable. Yeah.
So yeah, that was Conquest episode. And oh yeah, that's right. Everyone. Oh yeah. Afterwards, everyone gets their shit together. The immortal quits because he has
after being
something really
revived
important.
again because he got taken out by one of the alternate marks.
He
died
wants
again.
He wants to settle down with his barely legal Asian fucking boo thing and have kids with her.
And then Kate's like, yeah, of course, yes, obviously.
It's like, damn, you have these like superpowered dudes, these superpowered gruff dudes getting their minds changed by Asian baddies. What's the meaning behind this? What did Robert
Kirkman mean by that?
I was gonna say I was like, I don't remember being in the fucking office writing that. It's like, all right. There's a deeper I was like, was that the true? Is this the true meaning of Invincible? All you need is an Asian baddie, and your life will go around. And then you have the Rex explode funeral,
where everyone is standing in their default concept art poses,
not looking sad. Everyone is just monotone, emotionless. And Mark is like, well, Eve is like, what, Mark?
Look, I'm just glad you didn't die. I don't even give. No, that scene's hilarious because she's going off about like she's like I still loved Rex even though he was like he cheated on me and stuff. Like I still cared about him, and he is just not listening to her at all. And then he's just smiling, and she's like, "Why are you smiling?" He's like, "Oh well, I thought I lost you." It's like you straight up didn't listen to a word she said just now.
He's like, "Man, in honor of fucking Rex, I'm gonna pound those fucking cheeks."
And then of course Eve's response, right, is like, "Oh, just pound my cheeks right now."
Just right now. And they do fuck at the end of the episode.
I love how you didn't listen to me at all.
They do fuck at the end of the episode. That's right. He's like, Rex, this
right
is for
after
you, buddy.
the funeral, dude.
Yeah.
They fly home right after the funeral. Like no grieving, like nothing, like no time.
Except Ray. Ray's behind a tree crying.
Yes.
And then you get the fucking singer where fucking dark blood fucking demon guy speaks to the devil.
for another side story thing that will probably have a really unsatisfying ending and will be not remembered as we transition into Thrag.
Oh yeah, and then at some point of the episode, Oliver's like, "Hey, Mark, are you going to start killing people now because everything got
And he's like,
fucked up?"
yes.
Yes, little brother, I will kill everyone. I will kill everyone that is a bad guy. Well, that's cool. Glad you decided to change it
This is true.
after.
This is what he should have done, though, because if he actually finished the job with Angstrom Levy, this shit would not have happened.
I mean, because think about it, like if that
Not all your fault, Mark.
it's kind of your fault, Mark. Really, I mean, you could have killed the old guy like really fast if you locked in. Like a lot of people died, Mark. Like a good couple 100,000, Mark. Really, you fucked up.
I don't think the shock factor to like when Conquest like pushed him through that beach of PNGs, like that was like I didn't feel anything from that. It's not as horrible because it's like you can't compare that to the scene where Nolan is holding him in front of the train because A, that's his dad, and that's like half the drama of the fight.
Yeah.
When Conquest does it, it's just superfluous. It's like, oh, there's a bunch of dead people.
What happened? What like literally Mark's response isn't as he's like stop, like just completely. He's like stop, and it's like, dude, if I got fucking like if I was being fucking smushed through people again, I think I would have lost my
You'd be
shit.
freaking out, right?
I would be pissed. I would be freaked out, and I'd be like, all right, I have to kill you now. You have to fucking die.
But he chooses not to lock in.
You literally have to die. There's no and ifs or buts. You don't know, but no, I have to wait until my hot redhead girlfriend fucking almost dies.
Otherwise,
I mean,
I can't lock in.
Otherwise, I need my redheaded fucking mommy GF to lock.
But they bring back characters after killing. They've done it so many times to this point that the stakes are like non-existent anymore. Like I don't care if anybody dies.
This is when they mean by Invincible is the white people's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they brought him back with the Dragon Balls, dude.
They just death does not mean shit for main characters at all. Until Robert Kirkman is not using you anymore, you're going to die, and it's not going to affect the story at all.
Yeah, I think I feel like nobody is talking about how weak the story honestly is. The story for this season and how disconnected everything feels, and the poor motivations of so many different characters.
Like most people, yeah. Angstrom Levy,
Levy's motivations, Powerplex,
still dumb. Powerplex, just as dumb. The only character with a real motivation is me not wanting to watch this.
Yeah. Conquest, which has a weird switch up of his character.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's actually kind of sad. I think what they might be trying to do with that is kind of leaning more towards the thing about the Viltrunites being more human than they let on. Because there's that part that happens later in the comics with them like starting families on Earth, and it turns out all of them are actually very susceptible to emotions.
Yeah, but Conquest is not one of them. He's one of them that's just like he's too far gone. He's so old. I mean, he's old as fuck. It's like this motherfucker loves killing people. Why add it? He's going to die in like 2 seasons or less.
Also, I don't think there's any point to it because it's like now that Mark knows that, and we know that Conquest is going to fight him again before he dies again. What was the point of telling him that? It's not like Mark is going to be like, Conquest, listen, I know you're honestly sad, all right? Look, we could call you like Barry. Does that work for you? You want to be Barry? He's like, no.
I've never been given a name. What if Conquest actually lived? What if they changed?
He becomes
Conquest
a good guy. That would be
a good guy. I mean, shit. Nolan does. Conquest, honest to God, might.
He just needs a name, bro.
What if we call you Jim? Jim. What if we called you JDM? James Matthew.
What if we called you
James Daniel? What if we called you James Matthew or James Daniel Matthew? James Daniel Matthew. I think I like that, Mark.
What if we called you Negan?
Call you Negan.
Well, hot diggity dog.
Well, hot damn. I think I might live on Earth for a little while.
That would be
Thanks, Mark.
That would be fucking insane. Holy shit.
Honestly,
Oh my god, dude! I feel like we're
that's
losing our minds. We're waffling about nothing right
yeah,
now.
yeah, we are. um, so overall with the story, I think we pretty, draw it into a good, concise thing with our feelings. That is just there's no real story for season 3. It's just shit happening. And
Yes.
people are going to say it's the Invincible War. It's all about the Invincible War.
No, it's
That
not.
shit happened in less than like 20 minutes.
Not about the
You
Invincible
barely
War at all.
you don't even see the resolutions to each fight. Oh, those marks died off screen. Wow, I really wish I could see how Cecil and fucking Donald handled the fucking mark invading the goddamn fucking Pentagon. I would love to see that fight.
That would
They
have been a
all
cool
looked
scene.
super fucked up. Would love to see that. Didn't.
Yeah. Overall, season 3 story.
Yeah, somehow it's worse than season 2. Like season 2 was filler, but this one is just like
Season 2 was just
it,
boring, but it's
it
like it
was
felt like it was like leading up to stuff. But this just felt like it's just
all
a
over
bunch
the
of
place.
superfluous, random nonsense happening back to back for no reason
Uh,
to set up more future stuff where more characters come back to life again. And it's just like, oh my god, I don't care anymore. Let's very quickly have the conversation about the art style, right?
Sorry.
Because I do think it needs to be stated because a lot of people are glazing this show for many wrong reasons. But some
Oh
people
yeah.
are saying that this show has like godlike animation and stuff, which is also not true.
No.
Um,
No. Mm-mm.
so for anyone viewing the video, I'm going to put on a slideshow that shows a couple examples of panels from the comic contrasted with the adapted parts from the TV show, right? Just so that you can get a bit of an image for what we're talking about here. Um, one thing you can give Robert Kirkman Chandler is that his paneling was fantastic, right?
Well, he was the creator of the story.
Oh, he wasn't the illustrator. He was just the
He was no. Mm-mm.
okay.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Well,
As far those drawings were not done by Mark. Were
do you
not done
remember
by
who did the
Robert.
illustration? Because I'd love to give them credit, their proper credit. It
I
had
can
it
look up
might have
their
had
name quickly.
multiple artists.
Artists. There was, but the one you're thinking of, it's this guy. I know who it is. I know his art. He's done art for Ryan Otley.
Okay,
Corey Walker did
shouts
the
out to
ones where
Ryan Otley and Corey Walker.
Corey Walker didn't do the super detailed shit. He did it when it was like very simplistic. It was like the kind of like the 1950s kind of designs of
Hmm.
the characters. That I like that art just because it's a lot more clean. But Robert Ryan Otley, his paneling is fucking phenomenal. His art style, albeit all the characters are ugly as fuck, they're super detailed and the impacts really do fucking hit. Like Conquest is a good fucking design because you could read so much into the character without like just if you see the one picture of him upon his arrival, it's that you could get so much from this character. You're like, all right, he's grizzled, he's old, he's some kind of veteran, he's got a fucking arm implant that's robotic. This guy means shit. And then, you have the things of him showing his satanism, licking the blood, like close up shot of his mouth, like licking the blood, and his fucked up teeth and his fucked up eye with his part of his head scarred and caved in. Yeah, yeah, a lot more interesting art to draw from the comics rather than the show where Conquest is pretty simplistic. Yes, he has the fucked up teeth, but then sometimes when he talks, he has perfectly aligned teeth. It's just
Kind
like
of goes back and forth in the show, and not to mention the animation error where he had two eyes at one point.
yes, which I did point out. I saw that live reaction. I was like, wait, hold up, something's missing, and I went to pause back, and I saw the two eyes, and I remember I told you I was like, hey, dude, what's wrong with this picture? And you couldn't, and
I
you were
didn't
just like,
see it at first, but yeah, he has two eyes for that one scene.
yes, two eyes, and I'm like, this motherfucker's supposed to have one eye. This is like the animation inconsistency in this show is so bizarre because this is season 3. You'd think they would have their shit together. In season 1, yeah, it's a lot more passable. You have the fucking still fucking 3D background models, whatever. They're all fucking flaxens. I don't give a fuck. But when you get to season 2 and you get to season 3, you're supposed to getting the real nitty gritty. And when you have these kind of like inconsistent character designs, the fucking pose in PNGs from the concept art for a funeral where it's supposed to be sad. it really shows the lack of care behind the animation itself. And yes, season 3 had a 10-month fucking deadline, which is insane. Props for them for fucking doing it. But if you want your show to succeed, you should at least have your animation presented in the way you would want it to. And this shows me that Amazon does not give a fuck. Robert Kirkman is like, yeah, we want to have, a season for every year. It's like, what kind of shit is this? This is just
It feels like the artistic vision of the source material is being compromised for the sake of pumping out something semi-annually.
yeah. And it's just it tells me that if they're not giving that much care to the show animation wise, why should I go ahead and watch it? I can just go ahead and watch YouTube clips and get the same thing out of it.
So the animation definitely feels very static at times, and it's really noticeable. Animation errors such as Conquest Eye are just really disappointing to see in such a show that's like so popular and expensive with all these expensive voice actors and stuff, but you can't fucking get his eyeballs right, dude. Like you had to draw the eye in. He was missing the eye to begin with.
You know what they did?
It was more work to do that. Like, I guess they just copied and pasted it, right?
They truly it's literally the exact same eye but flipped. I get, animation is difficult. Trust me, I've been there. I'm not in like a big studio, but trust me, I know what it's like.
But the guy should know that he has one eyeball at least.
Yeah, but the animator should know for that fucking frame that he has one eyeball just to keep it out. Why did they copy and paste it to the other side?
That's like it's like if you were drawing SpongeBob and you gave him like one tooth. It's like no. You
No.
should know what the character looks like when you draw it, man. Like I guess
And
I don't know how fucking how their dev cycle is, like if it's like they're being crunched a little bit,
it's 10 months. They had 10 months to make season 3.
It
They're
is 10
getting-
months. I don't know how the fuck they're putting it out. Like
Yeah.
there are scenes in here that are kind of quality, but for the most part, I think the animation has these moments where like you can tell they compromised on a lot of parts, especially with that funeral scene. But what it really boils down to for me is the art style of the show. The art
It's
style of the show just doesn't do justice to the incredible panels of the comic.
it does it again, less details, and this is what I was taught in school. This is it, data animators do not like details. They really fucking don't. They like to keep it to the character design. But it's become more popular when you go off fucking model.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go off model, when you have these scrunches, squishes, like, in anime from, One Piece, you get some of these incredible fucking animated scenes. And again, they're out, like, I don't know who they're outsourcing their animators to, but they definitely can. And because, most Japanese anime is done by Japanese, animation studios. But if recently they've been outsourcing their fucking work to people outside of the country to other parts of the world. So I don't understand why they can't get, a few other talented people from outside of where they're getting from to do some bits of animation. And I think if you could have, there's some parts where the animation can just be fine, but when you have, fight scenes that are supposed to be dynamic and incredible, I want to feel it. I want to feel these impacts. I want to be saying out loudly, "Oh shit, fuck," and then rewatch it with a smile on my face. And I don't get that from fucking Invincible. I don't. I fucking can't. There's no way for me to get that kind of enjoyment. The only time I ever got that type of enjoyment was from season 1, where Nolan fucks up the Thraxan world, and the animation itself wasn't that impressive. It was just fucking cool to see, and I could imagine
it did have a very cool licensed song behind it too.
Yeah, and I could imagine if a pinch of actual, like, competent crazy animators animated the conquest fight. Imagine how crazy that could have been.
I mean,
That
there are small clips of people who have made their own like fan animations online that look really cool, really dynamic,
cool.
where they're like flying through buildings and stuff, and like the camera work is crazy.
Yeah,
a big issue I have: the camera work in this show is not that great.
it's flat.
Dude.
It's flat. It again. It's an issue with the animation side of the states. It really
Solid
is.
camera work in an action scene though can carry though, man.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just an issue that they have. It's these old school animation guidelines that they have that they're still following to a fucking T.
It's like I can't remember much. Everything to me just feels kind of like a wide shot. Like that's the only thing I can remember is like wide shots of them fighting.
Yeah.
I think the base issue that we're trying to drill down here though is that this show is swagless. There is no swag.
Sauceless.
Sauceless, especially, yes. Whatever
Yeah,
you want to say. I think those are both interpolations of each other, honestly.
they really are.
But the show has no drip. The show has no sauce. No, it has a lack of character, right? The- okay, so a good example based on the images on screen, right?
Mhm.
I have not read the comic. Chandler has, but based on panels I was looking at, one of my favorite panels easily is the one where Conquest and Mark are flying at each other, right? This is after the events of the Invincible War and all that. I mean, you see that Mark like wore down the gloves on his suit down to like his forearms, and he's so pissed at this point that when he flies at him, he has his arms behind him and he's like roaring, just flying head on into him. While Conquest with the giant metal arm is like bearing down on him, and just the framing of it is so perfect. It looks incredible. You have like this like vignette around the picture too of a
And then
bunch of like
yeah,
destroyed
one thing,
buildings.
the use of
Beautiful looking.
yeah, the use of color in the comics is another thing. That the show doesn't. This show does not use color to its fullest potential. Nothing looks crazy or dynamic enough. It's very flat. It's very like it happens in the broad daylight. It's very crisp and it's very pale. And it's just like why using colors invokes a feeling. Using dynamic destroyed buildings invokes a
I mean,
feeling.
like, look at Conquest's like robot arm, right? Compared to the one in
Yeah.
the comic, it's all like desaturated and flat, and it has like no texture on it to differentiate it from any other part of his costume.
Yeah.
It's,
And then the one from the comic, it's like got bits and shit. And it's like not
it's
exactly,
like giant and gold and purple in some
yeah,
spots.
like its arm itself is not like perfect. And that's the thing. A lot of these designs, what I mean by perfect, I mean he's too clean. He's too squeaky clean. There's just like it's like too
He's like
nice.
simple. It's simple. You know what I
It's
mean?
really simple. And the same thing with Angstrom Levy. This dude had his fucking head smashed apart. He really had nothing. Fuck, his brains was fucking putty. And then now his head is reformed back, and he's got a cut on his lip, and
He
he's got a
honestly
scar.
looks less monstrous than he did after the initial explosion with the Maulers. Like he
Yeah,
actually looks better now somehow, even though his head he should look a million times worse because his head was opened up, dude.
and if you could see in the video, there's a panel from the comic where Angstrom Levy is screaming. He's like, "Destroy Invincible, make them hate him."
Yeah, and his
I
teeth are
admit,
all mashed up. They're like separated
his
and stuff.
jaw is completely disconnected. His fucking head's caved in. Again, a thing with voice acting. How the fuck would he talk regular?
Yeah, with his
I would
mouth all
imagine
mangled like that,
they
dude.
get destroyed up, like just something like that. Like what? Like
That would
he's
sell
just
the character so much more too if he had like a gross, disgusting, broken voice.
yeah, just something super fucked up and guttural
Because
that
he's
he
like
really
this
has.
living embodiment of Mark's like big mistake where he lost control, right? At least that's how he feels about it.
Yeah,
So it would make more sense for him to be like visually way more disgusting and not as put together. But instead, he's played by this very charismatic,
yeah,
actor.
got it. No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
once again, and he's kind of playful with it, and it's like
If if
it's not
if
enough to me.
if someone fucking put my brain so much, I would be not as fucking cheery as that. I would be pissed as fuck. And he's like just having the time of his life. I'm going to destroy. It's just like again, like
With my
there's
stupid
some
plan that doesn't make any sense.
sense. And it's like it's just the thing with whoever the fucking voice director is, just make a suggestion of making him sound fucked up. Well, no one's gonna be able to tell what he's fucking saying.
Well,
Well,
who
guess what,
cares?
motherfucker?
Maybe
That's why we
that's the
have
point.
Guess what, motherfucker? We have subtitles. Everyone, I watch shit with subtitles. You watch shit with subtitles.
Well, you could
Go
at
ahead and
least
press
just
it.
subtitle like it's like sometimes in shows where people speak other languages and stuff, they only subtitle
Yeah,
parts where they speak another language. You could do that for him. or something. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
100 ways to go about it to make it more detailed. Really quick to mention the other image we have is the part where Mark and Conquest punch each other, and he punches right through the metal arm. Man,
Yeah.
absurdly disappointing in the show, dude. Absurdly
Because
sauceless.
because you can't even see Mark's reaction in the show, and in the comic you see him how he's
You see both their
completely.
faces at
You see
once.
both their faces. Mark is completely, he's crying. He's super full of emotional. He's just
Yeah, there's
putting all of
blood.
his weight
There's
through it.
blood all
His
over both
arm
of their
explodes.
mouths.
And the thing is, in the show, his arms are not as they're like bent, but they're not as like you could see the bone fucking sticking through in a grotesque manner.
Yeah,
In the
they
show,
crumple
yes,
up in the fucking
yeah,
comic though, dude.
yeah. And then in Conquest is roaring back. He's putting all of his fucking weight into that punch. And
Yeah, it's
this
just
one,
this
he's just
one
more.
insane explosive punch where like
It,
his arm flies apart and then his arm like folds up and stuff, and they're both just like crying and screaming, and it sells the brutality of the fight,
yeah,
which I feel like is the point. Is like it's so
yeah.
absurdly brutal.
And
I
the
mean,
show,
there's
he's just
multiple.
in the show, he's mildly disgruntled. He goes,
Yeah, and
literally,
they made Mark like Steven Yeun's like doing this weird like noise, like he's like crying. It's like like they should both be roaring at each other. It's like they made a weird visual change that resulted in this weird like tonal disconnect for that scene.
yeah,
And there's
eh,
multiple other examples, right? Like when he spears Eve through the chest. Whenever he's like you talked about that zoom in where he's like licking the blood off his lips and how like
yeah.
horrible and disgusting he looks.
And he's got an evil grin. That's what really sells me that he's far gone. In this one, he's like, delicious. It's like, what?
Because he's just Jeffrey Dean Morgan in the booth. It's not a character. It's just this little performance.
Yeah.
Like I said, not
Like,
to say that he's not talented or anything like that. He's a
it, it,
great
it,
actor. I've liked him in everything I've seen him in. He was not the
I,
right choice for this role, though, dude.
I think the voice director is just sitting there twitting. He's like, all right, great job, JDM. Fantastic. All right, let's get another line in there. You ready, buddy? All right, go
Fantastic.
ahead. Don't mind me. I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting here in the back. Go. Do what you think is best. You're the actor. I'm just a voice director. I don't have any input. I mean, it isn't like I'm getting paid to do anything.
That's what it sounds like, right? It sounds like they
That's.
took the first attempt at him and they were like, "All right, great. Here's your big check."
Do they have Chris Sabat in there? Is that who the voice director is?
Just making all our unpopular opinions known today.
I have a list, bro. I have a list.
All right. Well, we've been here for almost an hour and a half at this point. It's been one of the longer episodes, so I'm terribly sorry if we lost anybody through the ramblings. If you are indeed still listening, we really appreciate you hanging out with us. Like I said, I know this opinion is not popular, but it's just how we feel. Okay.
No.
So please don't get mad at it if you disagree or if you feel like we missed something. I mean, clearly I misremembered a lot of stuff. So I would not hold it against anybody to point out inaccuracies that I had with the show. But at the end of the day, I still think that this story is not the most well written. I still think there are some really weird priorities for the show, putting well-known celebrities who are probably very expensive into roles that aren't that important, especially like Powerplex and stuff. Like Powerplex didn't need to be Aaron Paul. Aaron Paul didn't need to be Powerplex.
Don't you deny it, bitch. I was great for the one episode and for the 2 speaking lines in the following episode.
He was fine, but it's like if you have Aaron Paul, you want to
Bitch.
like. Yeah, he was in BoJack and stuff, but it's like he's the kind of guy you kind of would want to see on screen. I think the same thing with JDM. So just like I said, weird priorities, weird like animation errors and stuff. The issues we have with the art style, it just all ultimately makes this very disappointing gumbo that tastes very flavorless and very sauceless. Special mention to Tech Jacket. Tech Jacket looks like ass in the show, dog.
Man, I was so excited to see Tech Jacket, and then he sent me that picture, and I knew we were
Man,
lost.
dude, holy hell, bro.
I think I had to fucking stop my truck on the way back. I had to park on the side of the road and put my head on the wheel. It's like, man, all is lost.
Pull over.
All is lost, man. Fuck.
Oh, special shout out to Jonathan Banks as Brit for like 3 lines.
What the fuck? Oh my god, I completely forgot that he
Don't
played
forget
fucking Brit.
about paying Mr. Mike Ehrmantraut himself for like 3 lines of dialogue for this
Don't
character that you
worry.
see for one
Stay
frame.
alive. Keep going in there. The sooner the better. And that was it. That's literally what he said the entire time.
Mark, I'm not gonna fuck you, Mark. Put your
Mark,
dick away.
put your dick away, Mark. We got Conquest to fight. Go, go. Now, okay, I will fuck you after you fight Conquest. All right? I'll see
Oh,
you
all
then.
right. All right.
All right. Well, people, I implore you to go ahead and comment if you, agree with our takes. If you disagree, please. I would love to be proven wrong. That I want to be proven wrong that the show was great, that the animation was good.
Because another factor just to close out on, clearly this show is, like I said, has been getting tons of positive reception, absurdly high like I said, I think it was IMDb like episode ratings that were as high as like some Breaking Bad episodes. And to me that seems a little excessive, right? That seems a little hype.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
A real shout out goes to IGN for saying the same shit as we did. I thank you for
it
the
is. It's
like
kind of
for
disappointing. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's just how
Just
I feel. Like I said, don't take it personally. And if you want to start a conversation, feel free to. Absolutely.
yeah. Like, subscribe, check us out on Spotify.
As per usual.
Love to hear
And
you guys.
we'll be back next time talking about the Minecraft movie.
Oh, all right. Well,
I'm
I
just
know what
gonna
I'm doing.
I'm just gonna say it. Yeah.
All right, I know what I'm doing now.
Where I can make my even more popular opinion though that I thought that movie was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
All
we'll
right.
dive deeper into it next time. Um, in the meantime, please check out Invincible season 3, form your own opinion, and join in on the conversation if you'd like to. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.